Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello, welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University online video session. Today we are going to discuss again the series of Basic English Semester 1 in connection with MA English Journalism and Mass Communication, and here we are supposed to study Basic English paper Semester 1. So let's start our work. You can see over here MA Journalism and Mass Communication. This is the main course where we are going to focus on Basic English 1, the part 1 of Basic English, where we have to study today block 1 unit number 8, and unit 8 discusses the tenses, verbs and verbal part 1. So let's go for understanding of what is verbal actually, because I think that you know what is tenses and verbs. Tenses of course deal with the present tense, past tense, future tense. It shows the time span in the sentence or in the paragraph. And verbs, I think you know, verbs is a part of speech related one part, one particular point where verb shows the action in the sentence. As for example, he is dancing. It shows that dancing is an activity done by a particular word, dancing. So verbs are the main denoting part in the sentences. They show the action of the sentence. They show the action of the event. They show the action of the paragraph even. So we are supposed to study right now over here tenses, verbs and verbal part 1. As you know, I am in front of you, Dr. Ushma A. Bhatt from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. Let's start our work. Very first thing that comes in your mind is about tenses, the parts of speech. It builds sentences and they are the essential part of language learning. One has to focus on what is the actual meaning, what is the actual understanding in the tenses, which kinds of tenses there are. As you know, there are simple present tense, past tense and future tense. Past, future and present, these are the three main categories of tenses, but of course there are many more subcategories even which could be specified and which should be very clear in your mind when you are learning the grammar, the parts of speech or writing for the journalism purpose. Look, here it is written, verbs placed in context to time factor. The verb shows the time factor. As for example, I am speaking. It shows that right now I am speaking. But if there is a sentence, she spoke yesterday in the evening, it shows that she spoke yesterday in the evening. It shows the time factor of the yesterday. He will be speaking in New Delhi on so and so date. It shows that certain event would happen in New Delhi on so and so date. So the verbs are the actual time factors. Verbs are the words that denote time, that specify the time and that talks about the particular period of time of that particular action or event. As for example, here you can see there are 3 sentences in front of you. She teaches mathematics right now. My brother was in Canada last year. My sister will go to USA next year. All these 3 sentences are written with different period of time. In first sentence you can see she teaches mathematics right now. It means that currently right now the teacher is teaching mathematics. Then there is another sentence, my brother was in Canada last year. My brother was in Canada last year shows that my brother had remained in Canada for the whole last year, and now he is not in Canada. Was in Canada. It shows that the event had already been done. The event is over. Now he is not in Canada, but he was. So here it is about the past tense. The first sentence, she teaches mathematics right now, is about the present tense, the current event of the current time of the present tense. She teaches mathematics right now. Present tense, continuous present tense. Actually, it is the sentence of simple present tense, but we can, of course, say that the word now is generally utilized for the continuity, for showing the right now event, for showing the continuity of the present period of time. So you can naturally say that the sentence is written in simple present tense, but it shows the current continuity of the event. Then number 3, my sister will go to USA next year. It shows that the sister will be going, she is going to USA. Right now she hasn't gone, but this is a mere future plan where the event is going to happen in the future upcoming period of time. That's why it is written over here, my sister will go to USA next year. So here all these 3 sentences denote the 3 tenses as well as the present tense, the past tense and the future tense. So I think you know what is the actual meaning of the tense. Tense shows the period of time in the sentence. As you know, there is a word sentence. The word sentence itself says that there is a tense in the sentence. Tense in the sense timing. Now another word is verb. What actually the verb means when we are going to think that particular word with a view to the grammatical term. The verb means the action of the sentence. The verb shows the doing of the sentence. What happens actually with the subject, how the subject and the object works in the sentence, or how the subject and the object are in connection with each other in the sentence. That is the duty of the verb. Verb does the duty of connecting even, and verb does the duty of showing action even. And verbal, as you have seen, this new word verbal is known as connected word. Verbals are basically 3 kinds. They are 3 types mostly. As for example, there are past participles, there are gerunds, and there are infinitives. Now, as you come across the word verbal, naturally you will think that what is the meaning of the verbal. And of course, your next question would be, what is the past participle, what is the gerund, and what is the infinitive, and what are its examples. So one by one we are going to clarify the meaning of the verbal, the participles, the gerunds and the infinitives, everything clearly. But before that, be very cautious about the tenses and the verbs, because verbs are the indicators of the action of the sentence. As for example, she teaches mathematics in the classroom. Here the first sentence, she teaches mathematics right now. Which particular word you can underline that this is the verb? Of course, teaches. Teach shows the action of the sentence. Then in the second sentence, please tell me what is the verb in the second sentence. You have to find it. My brother was in Canada. So was shows the action of the sentence, that he was staying in Canada. Of course, stay is not taken over here, but it means that he was in Canada means he remained there last year. Remaining, staying, everything shows with the word, one word, was. Was, of course, is a verb over here. Then let's go for the third sentence. My sister will go to USA next year. Will go. Again, these 2 words, will and go, shows that they are the actions of the sentence. So basically teaches, was and will go, all these three verbs are used in this sentences to show the action of the sentences. Now we are supposed to study the verbals and how appropriately they are utilized in the written language and what is their actual role in writing the sentences that you need to understand. You should be very much clear that the verbals are the connecting words. They are the connecting words, but they are in a form of verb. They are actually having the root of verb. As for example, there are certain connectors like and, in context to, with a view to, in spite of, instead of. How these words behave in the sentences? They of course do the role of joining the sentences, but how does the word in spite of becomes? How does the word instead of become? Or how do you see the word with a view to is created? They are the combination of the prepositions with a view to, in spite of, instead of, in front of, in context to. Because they are the combination of the prepositions, they are the prepositional phrases, and in the same way here these are the verbals and they are actually having the root of the verbs. That's why they are known as verbal. So you don't have to be very much ambiguous in the understanding of this term. The verbal is merely a connected word. There are three types of verbals: the participles, the gerunds and the infinitives. Now one by one we are going to understand all the three verbals, but before that you are clear about the verbal, that it plays the role in the sentences to connect the word, merely to connect the word or to connect the words. That is the actual thing which you should keep in your mind while understanding the term of verbal. Types of tenses, verbs and verbals with appropriate written language. Look, what over here we are supposed to focus on, that is the written language, because journalism and mass communication basically much more deals with written English, and that's why one has to be very much cautious while writing everything, because written data will go alone without any face to the readers, and the readers see, while they are reading, they see their own reflection in the pages. They see that what they read they are thinking also. That is why one should be very cautious while doing writing. In speaking it does not happen, because the speaker is speaking with his face or her face, and at the same time the speaker could be asked questions also. You can ask the question by raising your hand when the speaker is speaking in front of you, if he or she is speaking in a face-to-face condition rather than virtual mode. But when the data comes to you in a written format, you cannot ask anything and you have to visualize it or think it, or psychologically you are asking or reading and understanding or contemplating and evaluating the data. That is why the writer's position is much more crucial, you can say, or the writer is having more responsibility in compared to the speaker or the reader. And that is why you need to understand the English language with perfect utilization. And that's why let's focus again on the verbals. Three different kinds of verbals. Now, as I told you, it is about the written language only. When the same verbals, participles, gerunds and infinitives, when they are in front of you and when you are listening in anyone else's speech, you would not be in a condition to think about it even. You won't be finding it, or you won't be criticizing it, or you won't be in a condition to differentiate it, that yes, this is the verb and these are the verbals and this is the participle and he is speaking the gerund, and look, the speech, in this speech you can find the infinitives. It won't happen. Why it happens? Because it is a written language, and that's why you have to think it in a different way. My focus is to make you clear about the differences between the written language and the spoken English, because participles, gerunds and infinitives are of course the parts of both written and spoken English, and you have come frequently, plenty of time, several times you have come across the participles and gerunds and infinitives. You look, of course, that they are quite different and new terms, but it is not like that. They are very fond of, you have come across frequently, and they are very fond of coming in the sentences. Let's see. Participle acts as an adjective. Look. Then another one, the gerund acts as noun. And third one, the infinitives act as nouns. Now how this happens? Let us see. You have to remember, the participle plays the role of the adjective. Look, now the main difference between verbals and other nouns and adjectives is that the verbal can take their own objects even though they are no longer verbs. They are not the verbs, but they are the verbals. It means they are the connecting words. As I told you, they are the connecting words, and they can take their own nouns. They can take their own objects. How it happens? Let us see. Look, here it is written. The girls, frightened by the police car's headlights, quickly came down from the school's roof. Singing very softly, the boy lulled his baby sister to sleep. The participle phrase works as an adjective modifying the verb. The boy. How it happens? Look, singing very softly. This is a particular phrase where it is totally, it could be removed, and you can put the word he, as for example. Singing very softly, he lulled his baby sister to sleep. Singing very softly could be removed, and you can put the another word. Playing the piano, the boy lulled his baby sister to sleep. Listening the music, the boy lulled his baby sister to sleep. Walking on the terrace, the boy lulled his baby sister to sleep. So basically the word walking on the terrace, singing very softly, playing the piano, listening the music, all these are merely the verbs with the phrases. They are the verbal phrases. Why? Because singing is a verb very softly. Of course the phrase, listening the music, of course the verb phrase, playing the piano, of course the verb phrase, and walking on the terrace, all these are the verb phrase. You can say that there are the verbs and there are certain other words also to join the phrase. So naturally they are the verbal phrases. You can have to accept it because we have already learned the phrases, noun phrases, adjective phrases, adverb phrases and clauses even in the previous chapters, in the previous series of lectures. So you should be listening to those lectures first, understanding the concept of phrase and clause, and then you try to understand this verbal tense, verbs and verbal term, and you will be in a condition to understand it easily. So here you can see that this particular singing very softly phrase is a participle phrase. Why it is a participle phrase? Because here there is a word singing, there is a word playing the piano, there is a word walking on the terrace, there is a word listening to the music. So the verb is attached as a verbal to other certain other words, and that's why it becomes the verbal phrase or it becomes the participle phrase. Be very clear about this particular word participle phrase. You can say that the verbal phrase or the participle phrase are similar. There isn't any difference in it. Both are similar. The participle phrase works as an adjective modifying the boy. Look, the boy who plays the piano, the boy playing the piano is making his sister sleep. The boy walking on the terrace lulled his baby sister to sleep. The boy listening the music lulled his baby sister to sleep. So naturally you can see that this merely word singing very softly plays the role of the it is playing the role of modifying the word. It modifies the word and it gives more information, it gives something more to the word boy, to the word noun boy, and that is why it is the adjective. The word that talks much more about the word noun is known as an adjective. So here singing very softly is a participle phrase, it is a verbal phrase, but it is functioning as the adjective of the noun. Functioning in the sense it is working as the adjective of the noun. Do you agree? Of course you agree, because you can see that it adds something more about the word boy. That's why it is the adjective. The girls frightened by the police car's headlights. Now next sentence. Look here, there is only one way to understand this term verbal. You have to read the sentences, understand the sentences, try to understand the meaning of the sentences, and then only you will be in a condition to understand the tenses, verbs and verbal unit number 8. There isn't any other key to understand grammar. When you want to focus on grammar, you have to see many sentences and then only you will be in a situation to understand the topic. Let's go for the next sentence. The girls, frightened by the police car's headlights, quickly came down from the school's roof. The girls who were frightened, look, there isn't a word who were frightened, but you have to understand the girls who were frightened by the police car's headlights, they quickly came down from the school's roof. Look, they is also removed and who were is also removed, because it is spoken as the girls frightened by the police car's headlights quickly came down from the school's roof. So again the word, the girls frightened, this frightened is the word playing the role of the verbal phrase, it is playing the role of the participle phrase, because it hasn't any other word which could be utilized as the noun. They are frightened is the word which shows that the girls are of particular kind. The girls in black dress, the girls in red suit, the girls on the rooftop, the girls of the C class, the girls of the 12th science. In that way, the girls who are frightened, who are is not taken, but you can understand that the frightened word says something more about the girls, and the girls are particularly the group as the noun, and as the word suggests something more about the noun, that's why it is the adjective. It is the role of the adjective, because you have to remember again that they are the verbal phrases. You have to keep in mind that they are known as the participle phrases. Frightened, the word itself is of third past participle word. It is of third tense, neither past tense nor present tense, but past perfect tense, and that's why it is frightened over here. The word frightened is utilized, and naturally the sentence says that the girls frightened by the police car's headlights quickly came down from the school's roof. Now let's go for the next sentence. I think you understand these two sentences where the participle phrases are playing the role of the adjectives and they are denoting the nouns, and that is why they are known as the participle phrases, and that's why you have to accept that the participle phrases of course are known as verbal phrases. This you have to keep in your mind. Waiting for people drove him crazy. The gerund phrase works as the object of the verb drove. Now gerund comes. As we discussed the participles, now the second term is gerund. In participle, you should keep in mind third word, neither a past tense nor a present tense, but the past perfect tense's form. As for example, come, came, come. Then as for example, frightened, frightened, frightened. Then as for example, read, read, read. That third form is utilized in participle, and here in gerund the ing form would be taken for the purpose of gerund. The verb would ultimately come, because this is the topic of verb. So verb would ultimately going to come, but the form of the verb would be in participle, could be considered at the third form of the past perfect tense, and in the gerund's case it comes with the ing as a suffix. Could you see the sentence? Of course you can. Waiting for people drove him crazy. Look, why he became crazy? Waiting for the people drove him crazy. Looking for the sun made him alert. Waiting for the trains made him annoyed. So these are the sentences where waiting, looking, dancing, all these words are utilized with the ing format of the main verb. The main verb is attached with the suffix ing, and the word that is created with ing is utilized as the subject of the sentence. It plays the role of the subject of the sentence. You can see over here, waiting for the people drove him crazy. It drove him crazy. If you remove the whole term waiting for people, underline that line, that words waiting for people. All the three words are underlined and they are removed, and you will put it over there. It drove him crazy. You can see waiting for people is the phrase, and that phrase comes at the place of subject. So naturally, they are playing the role of the gerund phrase works as the object of the verb drove, and it plays the subject of the sentence also. It is here the object of the word drove, and afterwards you can say that they are playing the role of the subject also. Look, the woman denied knowing her own husband. The woman denied it. It in the sense knowing her own husband. The woman denied that. If you put that and if you put full stop, then of course the whole phrase knowing her own husband would be replaced, and there comes the word it. So the woman is the subject, denied is the object, and knowing her own husband is an object. Subject, verb and object, S plus V plus O. This structure is utilized over here. Gerund phrase works as the object of the verb. Look, in the first sentence also the gerund phrase works as the object of the verb drove. Now in the third sentence the gerund phrase works as the object of preposition by. He thought he could escape from his problems by running away. He thought he could escape from his problems. You can put the word he thought he could escape from his problems. Now remove the word by running away, and naturally you will get the gerund phrase. So all these are the examples of phrases Of course, they are the group of words, that's why they are known as phrases, but you have to keep in mind, remember that they are the gerund phrases because they are utilizing the ing form of the verb, and when the original verb form utilized with ing and coming as a noun or an object or an adjective, then it would be considered as the gerund phrase. To live in Mumbai eventually is his main goal in life. Look, to live in Mumbai. To live is again a verb, but here it isn't playing the role of the verb, but it is playing the role of the noun phrase. To live in Mumbai is his main goal in life. The marriage is his main goal in life. If you put the whole word to live in Mumbai eventually, remove it and put the word the marriage. The marriage is his main goal in life. Naturally, the word marriage is replaced by this whole phrase to live in Mumbai eventually, and you will understand that to live in Mumbai eventually is utilized as the infinitive phrase because the word to itself is utilized for the purpose of infinitive. Gerund is utilized for the purpose of showing ing suffix in the verb. Participle shows the past participle, past perfect tenses, third form of the verb. V3, previously you might have learned the V3 form, verb, third form of the verb in the schools, in your upcoming years of the schooling. So naturally all these three must be clear in your mind, and again I am doing a repetition going for the first slide to make you remember. Look, one important thing I have remembered and I wish to share it to you. Participle acts as an adjective, gerunds acts as noun, and infinitive acts as nouns. Look, this is the actual note of the sentence. This is the actual idea and concept of understanding participle, gerunds and infinitives. But you have to keep in mind that participles as adjective, gerund, noun and infinitive noun. And now you try to understand all the sentences which we had discussed up till now. Look, participles as adjectives, then gerund as nouns coming as the first word, and again another one, infinitives as noun. Do you find it? Of course you find it. To live in Mumbai eventually, noun ho gaya. He thought he could escape from his problems by running away. Here again the gerund comes as nouns, and in the beginning sentence, the girls frightened by the police car's headlights, participles as adjective. The girl who were frightened, as I told you, the word says something more about the noun girls. That's why they play the role of the adjectives. So the key words which are written over here are well understood. They are well clearly understood and clearly explained over here in the second slide. You must have to put all these three ideas over here practically in these sentences and try to find same kinds of sentences from your self-learning material from your books, and you will find 20, 30, 100, 40, 50 plenty of sentences from your material as well as in your books, even in the database and in any grammar books if you are referring. Now you have to keep in mind these kinds of sentences. Do you have any clothes to donate to the homeless shelter? The infinitive phrase works as an adjective modifying clothes. To donate to the homeless shelter. Do you have any food to give it to the orphanages? In that way. Do you have any plans to go to Delhi? Do you have any plans to arrange for the summer vacations? So you can see that to donate to the homeless, to donate to the orphanage, to give it to the poor people, to go to the summer vacation, all these words are utilized with the word to infinitive, and the infinitive phrase works as an adjective modifying clause. Do you have a plan? The plan is, do you have any plan to go in the summer vacation? The word plan is clearly mentioned into the summer vacation, to go to the summer vacation in that way. Do you have any plans to go to New Delhi? Then do you have any food? Any food? Food is also taken over here as a modifying word, and it is modified by the adjectives to donate it to the home orphanages, to the poor children. So near it is very much clear over here that the infinitive phrase works as an adjective modifying clause. In the same way, almost all the words which I have given you right now, the examples I have spoken, could be the answer to the word infinitive phrase. How do you understand the infinitive phrase? Merely you have to put the to over there, putting the original verb and some other words to add the infinitive. A participle is an adjective formed from a verb. Look, formed from a verb. It shows that this participle is an adjective and it is created from the verb. Could you find the participle over here? Of course, it is coming in the sentence. Look over here, the drunken man, a ruined city, a misspelled word. All these are the participle and they are the adjectives. How is the man? Drunken man. How is the city? A ruined city. How is that word? A misspelled word. So these are drunken, ruined and misspelled are the examples of participle word, and they are playing the role of the adjectives because they say something more about man, city and word. And when these kinds of words are telling more about the noun, then naturally they are known as the adjectives. You are very much clear about the definition of the adjective, and when you start learning this chapter, I request you to please see the definitions of the adjective, noun and verbs, very common definitions. First you read those definitions, understand those definitions, then you try and sit for the understanding of the word verbal phrases, participle phrases, infinitive phrases, and that third one, gerund phrases. It would be very much clumsy and ambiguous to understand if you sit it without going for the normal understanding of the noun, verb and adjective. You must be very clear about noun, verb and adjective first, and then you must switch to this topic of gerund, participle and infinitive. Now again let us see ing to the verb, sometimes doubling the final consonant. Look, sometimes it happens that ing is utilized and it doubles the final consonant, as for example stopping. Then sometimes there is a word which comes and it shows the doubling of the final consonant. Sing becomes singing, play becomes playing, fall becomes falling, run becomes running, walk becomes walking, stop becomes stopping. So here it is clearly shown over here, to make the present participle one has to add ing. Certain other past participles are, which we had already discussed, so we do not want to repeat it. And let's go for the asterisks, the examples which are written with the asterisks. We met a boy carrying a heavy bag. Decorated rooms are sold here in a package. Finding the door open, Ali Baba went inside. So here you can see that all these gerunds are taken, all these past participle words are taken, and even the infinitive is taken to show and to add something more about the noun, and they play the role of the adjectives as well as they play the role of the verbal phrase also. Let us discuss them. Look, in the first sentence it's a gerund. We met a boy carrying a heavy bag. We met a boy who is carrying a heavy bag, who is dropped over here, but the answer is, how is that boy? The boy carrying a heavy bag. Data, the word carrying a heavy bag is telling something more about the noun boy, and that's why it is the adjective phrase, gerund phrase, adjective phrase, as well as they are known as the words which are utilized for the purpose of verbal phrases. Decorated rooms, again, the word decorated is the past participle, but it talks something more about the noun rooms. And in the same way, finding the door open, finding is actually coming as the first word in the sentence, but it is again talking about, just like that sentence, waiting for the event. In that sentence also the same thing happens, and here also you can see the same thing happens. Finding the door open, Ali Baba went inside. So here these are the words which play the role of participle, gerund and infinitive also. Now let's try to understand the gerund. A gerund is a noun formed from the verb, and to make a gerund one has to make ing to verb just as with a present participle. Look, you have to do only one thing, add ing to the main form of the verb and you will get the gerund. The gerund is like the participle in form and like a noun in usage. So it looks like participle, but it is playing the role of the noun. Its functioning again is noun. Here there are two things that you should keep in your mind while understanding the topic of this verbal phrase, that the word which plays the role of the sentence is different, and word which is known in a grammatical term is also different. As for example, here you can see the participle has been called an adjectival verbal. The gerund may be called a noun verbal. Making a big company is not everyone's cup of tea. The word is making. Then another word is organizing. Third one is borrowing, seeing. And the last one is I enjoy studying coins. So almost all the gerunds, they are playing the role of the participle also, and they are coming as an adjectival verbal. But as gerund, they were or they will be called the noun verbal also, because they are playing the position there in the sentence. In the sentence they are coming at the place of noun, and that's why they are known as noun verbal, because you can see their positions. They are coming in the front part, in the beginning, in the initial part of the sentence. And here you can see I enjoy studying coins. I enjoy coins, but I enjoy studying coins. Here again it is the adjectival verbal, because it comes before the noun and it talks more about the noun. Coins are nouns, and studying is used before the word noun and it talks more about that noun. That's why it's the adjective verbal. So you must be very clear about these two things: making, organizing, borrowing and seeing. All these sentences are playing and they are focusing on noun verbal, and the last one shows about the adjective verbal. So in that way one has to be very much clear while understanding the gerund. The gerund means of course ing, verb plus ing, but at which position it comes in the sentence, or at which place it is utilized in the sentence, or in which term it is functioning, how it is functioning, that becomes the important part to remember. Infinitives is the last part. Everywhere, wherever you put the word to, and you will find the infinitives. To shout, to run, to slip, to cry, to jump, to play, to dance, to read, to eat, to cheat, to obey. You can see over here almost all the verbs are written with to infinitive. So this is the ending of the session, and you have to remember that we learned participles, infinitives and gerunds, and we are going to initiate the session again also in the upcoming sessions, and you have to be very clear about this point: verbs, verbals and tenses. Good luck to you. God bless you.
स्वाध्यायः परमं तप